Hello everybody. So as promised, here's a brief summary of my trip to China. I'm just coming back. I'm in Amsterdam at the moment. It was really a great trip. I wanted to go there to meet the suppliers we had selected and I'd have some long discussion about technical points. It was my first trip to China. I was also very curious to see this country and I really wasn't disappointed. So after landing in Shanghai, I took a flight to Shenzhen directly, and Shenzhen is known as the temple of electronics manufacturing, and this is really true. In Europe, for example, or at least in France, there is not a single shop selling individual electronic components. You need to go online and spend hours scrolling through hundreds of thousands of components that you can't touch nor see in real scale. Here in Shenzhen, you have supermarkets of electronic components. You just come here as you would for the shop for your groceries. You have your list and a basic idea of the recipe, and you figure out the details depending on the merchant to whom you are speaking. This is night and day because relying on their human experiences at each step is much more efficient and also much more fulfilling because they teach you stuff, they show you things around, they tell you, go and see this place. I then visited a PCBA factory to produce the BMS and the contact plates. As I had quite some experience in the various process, this was more to review the quality and the capabilities than a real discovery, but I was very pleased with what I saw. There were critical aspects like tropicalization, conformal coating, and some process to check the boards that are very well done there. So let's talk about Shenzhen streets. It looks like a lot of people rely on electric two-wheeler to commute, as you can see on the streets. Most of these still have lead-acid batteries, and thankfully, because imagine how a fire could propagate considering how cluttered the streets are. Besides, I was completely baffled by the Chinese cars. In Shenzhen, for example, you have 90% of cars that are electric. And even with 20 million inhabitants in the city, the air is quite pure and the sound level is incredibly low. I flew back to Shanghai on Wednesday and drove to Suzhou, the eastern Venice. It's 30 million inhabitants and it has many canals. It's very nice. We visited a plastic injection factories and some aluminium foundries. It was so great to be able to discuss on the real product and their potential defect and caveats, and go back and forth between the general manager office and the factory. Chinese people are pragmatic and efficient. We solved a design issue on the go, moving from one floor to the other, always finding people helpful and mastering their craft. And I was able to bring back some samples. Look at these beauties. I will tell you more on this later. So all the love, all the power.